Nothing but truth.
Welcome back. Frank Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk. Wow. Waleed Fairs, Dr. Waleed Fairs. Amazing man, and he is the expert's expert. Blessed to have him. It has been a news-making week, to say the least, on our policy in Syria with the speech that was contradictory, and the latest article from Putin, which is surreal in the sense that he contradicts himself. He ignores his own past, recent or otherwise. I mean, it's really like, okay, I want you to come at this thing, and this thing being the current decision to, before Congress in the form of a military action against Syria and giving the green light to that, and the issues surrounding it are so much more complex than just the simple decision to authorize force. There's the component of trust. And as Dr. Fairs mentioned, that is specific to the fact that we've supported Islamists. So people who would normally be for military action are saying, no, because you may support people that we are at war with. You've done that with the Muslim Brotherhood. And you could say not directly, but certainly parts of them, absolutely. And so what about the other trust? Well, the trust in information, even. I happen to believe the Syrian government is responsible for that use of chemical weapons. And in the case that we are talking about specifically today, I also know that the rebels, general term, specifically elements I believe that are al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda affiliated, have committed atrocities, big time. And so there's a great deal of concern. And during these times, you need a place where you can say, okay, what's the truth? Where am I going to get the truth? Now, in light of the date being September 12th, and yesterday we did a kind of a special Nothing But Truth, 9/11 style. Yeah, I was intense. Yeah. Well, I'll address my second hour. Yeah, that was the second hour in my monologue. I don't take anything back in the sense of the content of what I said, but possibly the way I said it, presented it, at times is a little, I don't want to say extreme, but I want to say less measured. And I guess that gets to the general point of what we're talking about overall, be it Benghazi, 9/11, September 2001, or last year with Benghazi. Bottom of the hour, we'll play an interview or elements of an interview Jake Tapper did with Sean Smith's mother, giving a little more background and to where the state of the investigation is today. Sometimes this, I'm not going to say sometimes, this is personal. You can't do this job unless you're connected to the stories you're talking about. Talk radio is the original town hall. And the ability to connect, and this gets into some, I don't want to make this academic discussion on communication and strategies and techniques. I will say that there's a relationship between, speaking personally, me and you. You and I. You and me. And that relationship is based on some form of trust at some point. Because I'm not telling jokes. Yet I'm funny sometimes, yes. Do you mean to be? I don't know. Probably not. But we're talking about war. We're talking about the economy and the ability to find a job. We're talking about how God's been removed from the square, the public square. How we are seeing a government aggressively penalize and persecute those who disagree with it, and specifically the administration, the IRS, and targeting groups and their political expression. We saw that in the presidential election too. So these are not matters of no consequence. And they're also very, very contentious issues in the way people interpret them and express them. So the point of us having a conversation is not one that is secondary, it's primary. And when we are having this conversation and you are hearing this day in and day out, it occurred to me, and I've been reminded of this before, that a lot of this can be taken as negative. Hey, Captain Obvious called. Yes, you're right on target. Thank you. And it's not meant to be that way. It's not meant to be a place where you are hearing somebody vent and rage. I think there are people with those styles, and they're very good with them, and that's what they do. It's not something I do because I'd burn out. And why I'm telling you this is because if we're listening to something day in and day out that is not positive, that is not serving us, well, that's going to bring us down. And are you saying, Crane, that you want to do happy news? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the reason we are talking about these issues is not to say, woe is me, oh, it's awful, because it is. Abortion, it is awful. You hear the story about across the ponds, sex-selective abortions? Yeah. Yeah, it is awful. But it is to present the truth, present the alternative, present solutions. You say, well, you say the truth, Crane. Well, we know there's one truth. As a Christian, I believe there's one truth, and that's the Bible, the Word of God. And there are people on this network, apologists, who are amazing. Bert Harper, Exploring the Word. Dr. Alex McFarland, Pastor Bert Harper, pardon me. B. Man Fisher. And there are other programs that focus on the top news stories of the day or a particular subject, but they're all coming from a Christian worldview. And at times, when we're covering this, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, I'm sitting back and going, wait a second. If I was listening to that, I would just leave angry and frustrated. And that's not the purpose. That's not the outcome we're looking for. As you listen, I don't think it's the outcome you're looking for just to hear about the world's problems. No, you're here to hear about the solution policy-wise. You're here to get the facts. You're here to engage, express yourself. And this has been a pretty ripping negative week. I mean, it has. Today on the Facebook page, I asked you all what you like most about America. We'll talk about that on the flip side, and we'll also be taking your phone calls on Duck Dynasty, and not particular to Duck Dynasty. The question actually has to do with what you do in your free time, in the sense of what do you enjoy? Is there a particular program, your favorite television show? How do you take a break from all of the stuff in your life, your leisure time? Well, going to church, of course, going to church. I get that. But there are other things, like, for example, there are programs we watch here, and our household that one is ending tonight. The conclusion. Season. Series finale. Burn notice. Digging that. Digging Duck Dynasty. And I don't want to make it all about television, but I certainly want to know what you look forward to doing and how you spend that time. Because if you're just listening to the news 24/7, now I want you to listen to AFR Talk, period, and AF American Family News, and they provide hopeful news from a Christian worldview, obviously, but the truth. But there are times that you share with your family that are not about what we are dealing with right here, day in and day out. So, what's your favorite television show, or did you ever have a favorite television show? And the favorite thing you like to do with your family on the weekends. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.